Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dee Dee. We are the hilarious outcome of opposing brains sharing a mutual desire to share knowledge and positive thinking about hemp and cannabis.
We are here to tear down the walls built by Big Pharma and other big companies that seek to keep the human race in fear and divided.
We are here to shatter the myths about hemp and cannabis and change the stigma of this amazing plant. Welcome to Hemp and Happiness with the Hemp Queen
And Emperor.
podcast. Join us as we venture into this misunderstood and the unknown.
I wanted to hear the whole thing play out.
I kinda did too.
I'm like, bone, chicka, bone, just hearing it in my head. Like,
Welcome back, listeners. We appreciate you.
I love our intro.
I know, it's pretty fun. You know, this whole experience has been pretty fun, and getting to educate others about what we do and how we do it and why we do it in the whole hemping industry.
Yes, and we have a lot to get through.
Okay,
so
okay.
sit down and listen, because this is really dry and important.
Is it really? It can be. Oh man, sometimes it kind of is.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about certificates of analysis today, and Dee Dee's gonna talk really technical, and I'm just gonna make it sound sexy. So,
But I'm the one with a nice voice.
I'd be Charles Bronson if I can pull that off. So, but no, it is a fascinating and important part of the hemp industry, CBD, and so on and so forth, and it will continue to be important as the industry evolves. So,
most definitely.
Dee Dee, give us a rundown of certificate of analysis.
So, certificate of analysis, you know, the little acronym is COA. I think that's important. It's kind of like CYA. It really is.
Well, it is kind of a CYA.
I mean, it is. It's kind of a CYA.
That's fitting.
Yeah. When you are buying a product, and we've touched on this before, but when you're buying a product, you need to make sure that there is a certificate of analysis that goes along with that product. The certificate of analysis can show you a few different things. It can show you how many milligrams is in the bottle, and you want to make sure that that milligram matches the label, because a lot of times in this industry, the labels it's mislabeled, and you know, you think you're buying 750 milligrams of CBD, and when you look at the certificate of analysis, it's really only about 500 milligrams of CBD.
Right.
That is super important, because that's a big difference in milligrams. But I know I'm jumping ahead. Don't even give me that.
I'm not giving you anything.
I can see it.
I ain't giving you shit.
Y'all, I can see it.
So, certificate of analysis. Yes, important to know the potency and the purity of the product. It kills me. There's a lot of people out there selling hemp oil that is actually hemp seed oil. And contains no CBD.
That, don't I? Yeah.
So that there is the biggest con.
Biggest con.
And they'll rate the milligrams on the bottle are the omegas.
Yes, in
the oil, it's not CBD, and it's a true con.
Yes.
And it's all over. I don't know if I can mention it. It starts with
don't
the AM
say that. No.
And ends with the Azan.
We don't talk about that.
Amazon that AM.
Yeah,
with the ING at the end is not allowed to sell CBD, or they've opted not to sell CBD. So those people who shop on that online place, you're not buying CBD if you're buying oil from there.
Right. It is. So here's the thing. You have hemp oil, you have hemp extract, then you have hemp seed oil, right? So those are the three things that people put on their labels. If you want hemp seed oil, that's great for cooking. It's got great omega-3s, omega-6. It's good stuff. You can even use that as a carrier oil for your hemp extract. Hemp extract is the one that has all of the cannabinoids in it, whether it's full spectrum, which has a little bit of that THC, which, you know, federally we have to be below 0.3% on the THC content. And it has a whole bunch of other cannabinoids too that are super beneficial for your body. Now, a lot of times people will just say it's hemp oil. 9 times out of 10, hemp oil means it's hemp seed oil. You need to look for that. That is
the cannabinoids are what's sexy.
Yes, the cannabinoids are sexy.
Yes.
Those are the ones that do the best for your body, for sure.
Yes.
And you're right. I didn't even think about bringing that up, but that's true, because a lot of these online people, they're selling it cheap. So when you see, a big, I've seen them in 4-ounce bottle sizes for like $20. And then people call me, well, I could get it on that name we are not going to mention place for $20. I'm like, that is not hemp extract.
Yeah.
It has to say it in the ingredients.
Yeah.
Look at the ingredients.
Yeah.
It should say a carrier oil, usually MCT coconut oil. That's the best. You got to have a fatty lipid. It helps your body digest it and absorb it well.
Yes.
And then it should say hemp extract, and then maybe a flavoring or whatever else is in it. But really, it should only be 2 or 3 ingredients. That's it.
For the base itself.
Yes, for the base
Let's
itself.
not forget that, our number one product is gummies. We don't,
true.
not even oil. So remember,
well, true. And
we're talking about the base product.
yes,
so,
I'm talking about the tincture.
Yes.
I'm talking about the oil tincture that you buy, and you squirt a little bit in it in the little dropper, and it goes under your tongue, and you let it sit there for a minute. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. But the principle stands for all CBD products,
Yes.
not just the tincture.
Very true. You need to check the ingredients and make sure there is hemp extract in it. That is very, very, very important.
Right.
And then from there, that's where the testing comes in. It should tell you on
the sexy testing,
the certificate of analysis. A DEA certified lab. They will take that product, they will do their little fun scientific stuff and break it down using HPLC, typically chromatography. Is that what it is?
They do use some chromatography. Right. Yeah. But you know what? You're really, you're best off to if you want to take it upon yourself to analyze your certificates, by all means, there's some great YouTube videos out there.
Oh, yeah.
We should actually probably post a link to a decent YouTube video on how to interpret them. It is a bit complicated.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sometimes we even still go, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are they trying
we've even gotten a few certificates that have just looked, just because of the order in which, and mind you, there's a lot of cannabinoids.
Labs, yes, and different labs
do. You get into pesticides. You're really best to contact your supplier or the supplier that you're considering purchasing from, and have them explain the certificate to you,
right?
And show you, where the purity is and where the cannabinoid quantities are, so that that they understand their product, but also you're getting education as well. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it.
I agree.
Rather than just trying to interpret all the lab geek stuff yourself, because man,
and Matt, it took me a while. It really did. That was not something that came naturally to me, and even the math on as far as how many milligrams are in the bottle and all that fun stuff, that took me a long time to learn. I've been in this industry a lot longer than most.
Yeah,
but it took me a while.
It can be daunting to interpret them,
and overwhelming.
Have your supplier, your provider, educate you on what's on the product and show you
for sure.
That should be something that should be provided to you from who you choose to purchase from.
I agree.
Because otherwise, it's like trying to read Latin.
Well, and if you're buying a 750 milligram 30 mil bottle, right? You should expect about 25 milligrams of CBD in each milliliter. Yep. And if you're not seeing that on the lab, or it's below, even with the FDA and how the label requirements are, I think there's a 10% variance. That's a big number.
Yeah.
And when it comes to CBD, that can mean the difference of you feeling some relief, or you need to take more to get the relief you need.
Yeah.
So within the industry in and of itself, most gold star superior manufacturers that do what they do best, they have that variance degree down between 1% to 2%.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's important. If I'm buying a bottle that says it's 750 milligrams, I want 750 milligrams in there. Maybe a little bit more, but not a lot less.
You know what's interesting about that too is one of the positive things that we're seeing happen now, pre FDA regulation. These companies that are doing some of these untoward acts are beginning to go away because they're essentially cannibalizing themselves, out-competing themselves, out of the market, and people are starting to educate themselves, which is so important and so positive to see. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean and that needed to happen.
Yeah.
It really did need to happen.
Yeah, that is one of the true benefits of capitalism is you do, competition will eventually weed out some of the weaker, of course, then the problem with capitalism is then those in power tend to exploit that. But what are you going to do? I don't have an answer for that. And I'm certainly not suggesting any Marxist or communist ideals on this program.
And we're keeping Big Pharma out of all this. Just keep Big Pharma out.
So, rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I didn't know my voice still went that high. That's good. Post-COVID, I thought I'd lost that high C. And that's important because Loving You is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, can you imagine what I have to deal with every day
moving
in the
on,
office?
and that's not part of the certificate. That's just I just love that song.
Okay,
who sang that?
I don't care.
I'm gonna look that up.
You can look that up later. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Yes, COA is important. You know, and not even just the COA, but it's also important about the milligram that you're purchasing. Not one size fits all for CBD. We all metabolize this differently. I mean, I ain't ashamed to say it. I'm a bigger girl, and I take about 50 milligrams a day, but I've had smaller people than me. They've needed 100 to 200 milligrams a day. I don't believe it's based on your weight. I don't believe that it has anything to do with that. You sometimes take more than I do.
Yeah.
And you're fit as a freaking fiddle.
Well,
like he's a CrossFit champ, y'all. Those muscles, you can't see him in this, but when he got his shirt off, he's got nice muscles.
And that's because I think that there's a consistent dose. And that has to be
key.
Discovered as an individual.
Absolutely.
Where you're consistently taking a dose. And then there's times of illness. We're going to have a show on CBD and COVID coming up. But times of injury where you may need to up your dosage.
Absolutely.
And you need to be able to consult with someone who knows a little bit about that, but most importantly, listen to yourself and your own body,
which is super important.
And put price tag aside at least until you know what your dosage is.
Exactly. We never try. I think
where dosages are.
Well, yeah, and in the beginning, I think everybody was just pushing those high doses on people, and I'm like, what are you taking it for?
Yeah.
Because most times people don't need a super high dose.
Yeah.
I mean, now my husband has seizures. He takes about 200 milligrams a day.
Yeah.
He needs that. He definitely needs that much. But me, I don't need that much. I'd be sleeping too much.
Yeah, I find that high of a milligram, especially if it's full spectrum, which is going to have a decent amount of THC in it, is going to make me lethargic and interfere with my productivity.
Right.
Unless I'm running around and keeping my pulse up.
Right.
In which case,
even then, well, and
that can be rough too, because then you're lethargic, you don't want to move.
Yeah. And I take my CBD oil at night before bed. Because one, it helps kind of calm my mind and I can turn it off because I'm very A-type personality. And I think about everything at all hours of the day constantly. And, I think of all the worst case scenarios, they run through my mind. And no lie, CBD is the only thing that has helped me with that.
Yeah.
And now, is it a cure-all and every night I can just go to bed perfectly and not think of it? No. I mean, that's life. There's always ups and downs to everything. And some things are a little bit more not time consuming, but anxiety consuming for me.
Well, also, you know what though, it's funny because you actually just followed the trend of a standard big pharma medical user, because in our culture it's become commonplace to say, "Oh, something's wrong with me. What pill do I take for this?"
Oh, no question about it.
And the reality is for a lot of ailments, especially mental health, and I wouldn't ever discourage anyone suffering from mental health issues from taking medication. Please seek help if you need it. But I don't think medication is just the answer. I think that it is a tool to help you find the answers you need. Mm-hmm. And some people, yes, you have to take medication for the rest of your life, but that should not be the first option. And that should not be the first thing that people go to. And we as U.S. citizens do that immediately.
Could it be because we're constantly being showed big pharma on TV?
It is.
Most countries don't have that in the commercials.
It's propaganda. There's no question. There's no question about that. But we consciously make you consciously make that choice.
And Matt, I'll be the first one
as an individual.
Well, and
CBD is no different.
No, it's
CBD is not going to heal your mental health problems. CBD is not going to heal you. You know,
it does make it better.
It can do a lot of wonderful things for you that can open up potential for healing in a lot of different ways.
Oh, for
in
sure.
my opinion, you know, the FDA disclosure. Yeah. You know, I feel like I should. And the FDA, you know, says you can't make any claims whatsoever about anything at all, or you will go to jail indefinitely.
I don't think it's quite that bad.
No, that's the dramatic.
Yeah.
And then there needs to be a little banner rolling saying dramatic representation.
In all seriousness, CBD has helped me with my anxiety.
Yeah. And I think it can help. But I think that, you know, can it help your anxiety? Yes. Is it going to tell you why you're anxious?
Well,
no. And that's the problem is people stop right there. Oh, I'm not anxious anymore. Oh. Instead of saying, why was I anxious? What was the root of that? What caused me to be anxious? And is there something I can do to help that so that I'm not anxious next time?
And that is a self-growth thing that I think we all need to work on. For sure.
And not just accept, oh, okay, I'm feeling relief. I don't have to worry about it anymore. You have to work your mind and your body.
See, he's always teaching me things, y'all.
No, there is no. This is
Buddhism.
This is just healthy living.
No,
I mean, you have to exercise your mind and your body, and if you're not, then they will they'll weaken.
Yes,
and you know, I part of the problem with this sheeple epidemic that we have going on today is that you have people that are weak-minded and they don't know it, and our culture supports it, you know, to some extent.
Well, be careful with the weak mind, because that's not.
When I say weak-minded, I mean don't feel like they need to think out of anything but what they're told.
And okay,
I'm not saying incapable of anything.
Thank you.
I mean we live in one of the countries where you're allowed to do that.
Yes.
I mean there are places in the world still today where you're condemned to your life, and that's it. And we are so fortunate to live in a place where that's not the case.
Right. And bringing that back to the whole CBD.
And certificate of analysis, which is what the show's actually about.
Exactly.
But it's sexy.
God.
It's provocative.
I think that CBD has its purpose. I think it can help people. I think that if you know exactly what you're taking, when to take it, how to take it, listening to your own body and how it reacts to the product, I think that's important. And then you can find the proper dose that you need to help you get past some of those issues that have been plaguing you. I was unfortunately under that big pharma for a long time. And I had tried Zoloft. I had tried Lexapro. I had tried, Wellbutrin, Prozac. I tried all of them, and I always had, 1, side effects. 2, they really didn't help me. And I still had some of the issues, but Zoloft, I was on that for a while, and I felt like I didn't have a soul. Like I didn't smile, I didn't laugh, I didn't care about anything. I wasn't me. And I'm an emotional person anyway, and I've learned over the years to accept that about myself. I care about others. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Yeah. If I need to cry when a customer walks in because they just found out they had cancer, I will cry with them. Yeah. Because I'm there to help people, and I'm good with that. But I think the CBD part, as far as just my overall well-being, I feel so much better using CBD products than I ever did Big Pharma, ever, for those types of issues.
Yeah.
And and that's me personally. I'm not making any claims either.
But you would also agree that those medications are necessary, and there's people
Some are necessary,
that do need
absolutely.
them.
And I will say that yes.
And
Yes, for sure. Are you kidding?
I also think that part of that is we're really into diagnosis nowadays. Like, oh, you have this, and you have this,
and here's
and
a
you
pill
have
for
this,
that, and there's a pill for that, and
especially when you get into issues of mental health. You know, I don't think that there is one diagnosis for a lot of conditions that people suffer, and this is especially prudent today with after all the COVID and quarantine has resulted in so many more issues,
for sure.
which a lot of that could have been avoided. But anyway,
I'm not going there.
Yeah, you know, it's an important thing to think about.
Well, yeah. And I know we kind of went off the rabbit hole with mental health issues, but I think sometimes they're needed. I mean,
but I don't think I think that in our society today, we just want to be told, oh, you have this, so you take pill A because you have this, and it's like, well, you can't define an individual and an individual's condition, especially with the mind, which is so vast and unexplored and unknown. What is going on with them, you know, and as an individual, you have to take it upon yourself to do that exploration.
Well, and that's important. I mean, did you happen to watch Dope Sick by any chance?
No.
Oh,
no,
man, you should
see
watch that. You should watch it. It totally changed the dynamics of the medical field in this country.
Well, I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be.
I know, me neither.
I have no medical background whatsoever. I only can go off my personal experiences.
I know, same. That's why we live that doctor and stuff to the doctor.
But I have survived a gunshot to the head, so that does give me some street cred. You know what I'm saying? I do get a little bit. I think I do get to say a little bit.
Just
about mental exploration.
Yeah,
I do have a one qualifying factor.
Sometimes, y'all, I know that it's the traumatic brain injury with him.
I never use that as a
you don't have to. I use it for you. I'm like, that's all it is.
You don't understand. He's functioning on a limited brain capacity.
We are being bad making jokes about that. Sorry.
I can make jokes about it because it's me. I'm allowed to make jokes about myself.
You can.
Okay, that's one of the First Amendment rights that, thank God, I can still talk about myself.
And we make fun of each other sometimes, but it's out of love. It's all out of love and for the Hempin industry.
Well, but you know what, though? If you can't laugh, you're so screwed. And that's the problem.
Yes.
In our culture today is like everyone's so serious now and so like, oh, you said what? You can't say that. It's like, yeah, but it was hilarious. I mean... Yeah,
I have to shake my head
if
at him
you can't
sometimes,
laugh,
I'm like,
if we can't laugh together and poke, fun at our own expense, then I will never give up on the human race, but that would be a tough one. So anyway,
you crack me up.
Back to COAs.
Yeah, back to COAs.
You want to know, I mean, seriously, you want to know that a certificate is available. You want to know how to interpret it or know that someone can interpret it with you to know the product that you're buying. You want to make sure that the milligrams that you're purchasing for any CBD product match what's advertised. You want to make sure that the components of those cannabinoids, because they can selectively remove cannabinoids, especially THC. And you want to know, especially if your job is conditional on that.
That's extremely important. We don't want no one to lose their job.
That you're purchasing the right product, and that it's the product that's going to be right and most effective for you. And when you do that, the likelihood of it improving your daily life will improve. The industry will improve because you're supporting retailers and manufacturers who are doing the right thing, not because it's a rule or it's a condition, because they're choosing to make a product that is going to help people,
safe and reliable.
Right. Yeah. And that's really what those certificates are all about.
For sure.
And in a space where there is no regulation, it is important. And you know, Dee and I, obviously we could have a boxing match over our feelings about regulation. We feel differently about that, but with no regulation, you absolutely have to take it upon yourself to know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely not getting into the regulation side, because I'm much more but not so overregulated that you don't get a good product.
Yep. See, and you are getting into it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're letting that go. Okay.
Well, no, and but ultimately, I agree with you. But there has to be a level.
There does.
A playing field, and
it should be
and it has to be safe. It has to be made safely.
Yeah. Well, yes, but that's the thing. If the manufacturer in it, and they're in it for the right reasons, and they are following all of the FDA regulations that are already in place as far as the dietary supplement goes, the CGMP and being audited, they're there. Those regulations are already there.
Yeah. So. And for those who don't know, CGMP is a self-imposed protocol on laboratories and manufacturing facilities, primarily who make pharmaceutical goods to be sold in the United States.
Right. Their level
of standards.
Yes, their level of cleanliness is above and beyond most places like that are making CBD in their home or their barn or their kitchen. Yeah. You know, they have rule books and batch numbers, and each batch number is written down for when it was made and how much they made of it. Yeah. There's so many rules and regulations to follow, and you know, you've got, if you need to have a product recalled, they can go in and do that because they have that information there.
Well, and I think it's just fair to say that if you're purchasing product that was made from a CGMP certified manufacturer, you can safely assume that it's pharmaceutical grade.
Absolutely.
And that's really the moral of my dumbassery as I try to rip the mic or rip the headphones off my face.
Well, I mean, that's come up in the news lately about the whole pharmaceutical grade quality and how there isn't any on the market. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Well, and
don't.
You can't subscribe to mass media.
No, no.
Unless you want to lose your mind.
Right.
and hide in your basement and put newspaper over the windows.
Right.
You really can't.
It's important to think for yourself. It's mass hysteria. Think outside the box and do what works best for you.
Choose what interests you and pursue that knowledge. And don't just take what you're told for face value.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
I completely agree with that.
Have we hit a crescendo?
We may have. We may have. I think we kind of covered what to look for in a COA and how they're important, and
we made it sexy.
Oh gosh. No, I make it sexy. Let's just get that out there. I make it sexy.
Boom.
Mic drop.
Actually, didn't you work on a sex line or something?
Oh my God, no.
Or am I not supposed to say that?
No, I never did that.
You thought about it.
Hey, I was told that I should.
Oh, that's what it was. I forgot that story.
I was told that I should.
It would have been cool if you did.
Yeah, but I don't. Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
and now I'm embarrassed, folks. Thanks.
Come on, we're airing it all. I talked about getting shot in the head. That how personal can you you be than that?
Oh man,
that's deep.
It was. I
got deep.
Mine was a joke. I
almost cried.
Yeah, buddy. I bet you almost did. I was never a 1-900 sex operator. People, just so you know. No. Anyway,
but if you'd like to hear Dee Dee do some sex talk, please write us and let us know.
Oh my God, shut up. Okay. Yep, turning red. Thanks, right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, appreciate that.
It's your color. Red's your color.
No, red's not my color. I like blue. Okay. Anyway.
Blue and green. We bleed blue and green.
Yes, we do.
We represent
the 502 hemp.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. See y'all out there. We appreciate you for listening. Have a great day. And
keep it hempy.
You know it.
Hempy.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Hempin' Happiness with the Hemp Queen
and Emperor.
Keep your mind ever open and expanding. Like, subscribe, review, follow us, all the good stuff. And
keep it hempy out there.